Iowa gun owners. If you're getting updates from IGO right now through direct mail, email, or social media, you probably already know that our number one agenda item this session is passage of the Second Amendment Preservation Act. It's HF 147, and we call it SAPA law for short. Guys, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about what's happening right now with SAPA law here in Des Moines, and it's not good. But I also want to make sure everyone knows the real threat that we are facing both in this state and in this country in January of 2025. Guys, there's not much time left to waste when it comes to passing SAPA. If you're pressed for time right now, whatever else you do, hit the link below or above and make your voice heard. Sign your petition demanding that our pro-gun supermajorities here in Des Moines move SAPA law through committee and onto the governor's desk. If you have a little more time, guys, let me break this down for you. I think everyone in Iowa knows that we have fantastic gun laws, and we do, because IGO members have spent 16 years now bludgeoning the legislature into passing pro-gun bills. We've passed shall issue, stand your ground law, constitutional carry, 3 or 4 peripheral bills along that time as the Democrats were trying to buy our favor when they still had the majorities in the Senate. We top it all off with the Freedom Amendment in 2022 to protect these gun rights in our state constitution. And in general, Iowa has very favorable gun laws. The problem, though, is that this president doesn't care about Iowa's laws, Iowa's constitution, or the will of the Iowa people. Joe Biden thinks that he is a supreme dictator. He's the supreme king of the land, and he expects us to do whatever he says. So for the last couple of years, as you know, he's grabbed his pen, signed executive orders attacking our gun rights when it comes to pistol braces and bump stocks and a bunch more. He then demands that Iowa's troopers, deputies, and city cops enforce these orders here in Iowa. Now, the good news for all of us is that for the last year and a half, the federal courts have intervened and they have blocked the implementation of these executive orders. At least they have temporarily. That's a great thing. What that's done, though, is let the Republicans here in Des Moines kind of have this lazy shrug and say, well, there's not really that big of a deal right now. And there's not that many gun owners who are being attacked by the Biden White House. So we don't really need SAPA law right now, do we? And that's been their standard response for the last year and a half. But I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, because it's already February. We're past the caucuses. We're past January. Hopefully we're past that freaking cold weather. And that means that the November elections are already in sight. In fact, 9 months from now, we're going to have a presidential election. And while neither party has chosen their nominee yet, it seems pretty likely that it's going to be Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. And there's no question what's going to happen here in Iowa. Based on the caucuses, it's pretty obvious. Iowa is going to be a landslide for Trump if he is the nominee. That's not in question. What is in question, though, is a growing number of swing states. Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and probably 3 or 4 more right now. The polling there is it's back and forth. There is no clarity in these swing states. And as we all know, it doesn't matter if Trump carries places like Iowa. If he can't carry these swing states, he will not win re-election. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's what I want to see happen. What I'm saying is that this is a reality we have to at least consider as gun owners. And what I've also seen is a lot of polling recently, which shows that for a decent segment of the Republican voting bloc, they do not wish to support Trump if he has a felony conviction. Now, I don't know about you, but I think it's a foregone conclusion. Whether it's right, wrong, otherwise, the radical left is going to try to convict Trump of a felony of some sort for that exact reason. They know this is the one way to really try to eat into Trump's base of support is by giving him a felony conviction. And so they're going to use every tool of their lawfare against President Trump, no matter how despicable, no matter how unjust, no matter how corrupt, to try to give him a felony conviction. That may happen. And if that happens, again, the odds of Trump winning in November go down by a sizable margin. And so as gun owners, we need to consider the possibility that Joe Biden wins re-election. And if that happens, there's a very strong chance that Joe Biden will flip the House. Right now, the House in Congress has a one seat Republican Party majority. That's it, one seat, smallest majority in, I believe, American history. Already, 18 Republican incumbents have announced they're not going to seek re-election. In some cases, it's just legitimate retirements. These people are tired. In other cases, it is Republicans in swing seats that do not believe they're going to win re-election. They're already out. And so it seems increasingly likely that whether Joe Biden wins or not, the House will go Democratic. If Joe Biden does win, it's a very strong chance they have complete control of the Congress in D.C. in January of 2025, not even a year from now. And what that means is that we have a very real possibility that in this country, we're going to see votes on the floor of Congress for Biden's main agenda items: banning AR-15s and 30-round magazines, a national gun registry, and a national red flag gun seizure law. This is a real possibility because these Democrats today are willing to burn their majorities into the dirt to secure passage of bills like this. They've done it time and time again recently in states all across the country. Happened in Minnesota. It's happening in Michigan. It's happening in Washington State. And I know it might be easy to say those are all blue states, but guys, they're not that blue, and the Democrats were not this bold until very recently. This current crop of Democrats does not care if passing gun control costs them re-election. They don't care. They'll do it if they possibly have the votes to do it. And so what I'm trying to tell all of us here is that there is a real possibility, God forbid, that a year from now, Joe Biden may have the votes he needs to pass national gun control laws, which would effectively negate, or not negate, it'd make all of us live under the same kind of tyranny that people in New York, California, Maryland, and other blue states live under right now. And so the benefit of living in Iowa or any other red state would immediately be called into question. Right now, if that happens, there is no firewall. Right now, if Biden ever could pass federal gun control laws, Iowa cops would be fully expected to enforce that crap here in Iowa. Even though it's not in our Constitution, even though it's not in our code, Biden could simply tell them, you will enforce federal gun control laws. So we are far away from talking about pistol braces and bump stocks. We are now facing legislative action in Congress that could forever alter the trajectory of our country. And that is why we need the Second Amendment Preservation Act right now, this session. This cannot wait. This cannot wait. But guys, unfortunately, our Republican leadership, especially in the House, are hell-bent on blocking SAPA law in committee. It's HF 147. We've already passed subcommittee on this bill. We have, I want to say, roughly 15 to 18 co-sponsors. There is broad support amongst much of the Republican House caucus, but in the Judiciary Committee, it is being bottled up. Now, I have met with the chairman of the committee. I have no idea how many times, a dozen times at least, about this issue. In person, over the phone, Zoom, all kinds of stuff. He's not unaware of the issues about this bill. What he tells me is that he lacks the votes to move it through the committee. So guys, here's the deal. Everybody who cares about freedom needs to pummel the House Judiciary Committee with calls and emails demanding that they stop delaying SAPA law. Here's the deal. It's a 14-7 Republican controlled committee. There was a time 15 years ago when I was first getting going with Iowa gun owners that most committees had a +2, +3 majority control. It was always a pretty thin margin in the committees. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. And these days, the GOP has massive majority control of every one of these committees. And that's a great thing. But what that means is the Republicans can't blame the Democrats for blocking SAPA law here in Des Moines. Every Democrat could vote no, and it wouldn't matter. It never has mattered, not for the last long time in the House, and especially these days. The only issue now is the Republicans. And guys, they need to hear from you right away. So depending upon what platform you're watching this video, you're going to have a pre-written email you can send in. You're going to have names and numbers you can call. Whatever action steps you can take, please pick up the phone or fire off your email and tell this committee that we are sick and tired of these delays, that we have to build a firewall at the state level to protect our gun rights, because we simply don't know what's going to happen in January of 2025. Guys, SAPA is already law in other red states. It is moving in states all across the country. The idea that's being held back here with the majorities that we have right now here in Des Moines is frankly an embarrassment. Guys, don't take this. Don't settle for this. Get involved. Send off your emails. Make some phone calls. Share a video, and we'll keep you guys informed. As always, to get more involved, go to joinigo.com or iowagunowners.org.